Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take. And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, me and JB are going to react to the Super Bowl. Yes, but before we do that, let's take a moment of silence, JB, because football season is over. Let's take a moment of silence before we do anything else. Okay, football season is over. However, do not fear, because basketball season is here. March Madness coming up, NBA playoffs coming up. So you got plenty of things in the sports world happening, off-season NFL news, of course, as well. And the NFL draft will be in there at some point also. So, plenty of things to talk about. Do not fear. So, with that, we want to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs on winning a second straight Super Bowl, first team to do so in 19 seasons. So, congratulations to the Chiefs.
Good job.
Mahomes gets third ring. Again, first team in 19 seasons since the Patriots in the early 2000s to repeat as champions. So, great Super Bowl. Close game, all we can ask for. So, that's what me and JB are going to start. JB, what is one thing from the Super Bowl in general you want to talk about? What do you think of the Super Bowl? Give me a grade from A plus to F on the Super Bowl this season.
To me, I really think that the Super Bowl in general, including the halftime performance, I think it was an A minus, just for the fact went down to the wire. We didn't know we because some of the Super Bowls that we watched, at the beginning of the first quarter, it's like, oh yeah, this team's gonna win for sure. Except for the Atlanta Falcons game. That one was a shocker and a half. But other than that, I mean it was a nail biter from beginning to the end. It was a great Super Bowl. And also with the halftime with Usher and everyone else coming out, especially my girl Alicia Keys. Um,
And we
but
had Luda. Luda came out. So
Ludacris, Little John, her, Will I Am. It was great. It was a great halftime show. I think for all the old heads, I think that Super Bowl was meant for all the old heads, like in their mid 30s, early 30s, maybe in their late 20s. This was our halftime show. But because all Usher sang was his old songs, and that's what we wanted. None of his new stuff. No, he did all of his old stuff where we grew up listening to. So that was a good halftime show, in my opinion. I think the Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, all of them, and Dr. Dre. I think that was the best halftime performance ever. And it's kind of tied with the Michael Jackson and the Eminem, or that Super Bowl halftime show.
you know, Michael Jackson was great, but Eminem's an all-time favorite of mine. So Eminem is definitely for me the best Super Bowl performance of all time. I think that might be a hard take from this channel. The Unbiased says, I think, undisputably, that Eminem is the best halftime show of all time. But I will agree with you. This was a very good halftime show. I also give it an A.
But yeah,
And all you got on that?
I mean, we all seen how Brock Purdy played. He did a spectacular job. He didn't turn over the ball once. He made plays the way that we thought he was going to play, and they did, and he did. So all in all, when time mattered, he came up and went to the plate and did what he had to do. So more bright future with this kid right here, Brock Purdy. I think he is the future for the 49ers. Mr. Irrelevant is going to be here. His story is still going to continue, and I do believe he is going to win a Super Bowl very soon. But that's all I have.
You know, me and you have totally opposite takes on that. Here's why. I agree with you. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, he is the franchise quarterback. He is that dude. He truly is. And so here's my fear though. He is Mr. Irrelevant. What's that mean? That means he's making Mr. Irrelevant money right now. They're not paying him. Eventually they're going to be paying him money. He's got him to the Super Bowl, but he has all that talent around him. With the Niners, it always seems to be, oh, they're super close. Oh, they're going to win a Super Bowl soon. Well, eventually soon will pass, and your Super Bowl window's going to close at some point. The Niners are 0-3 in the Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan, in which they had a lead in all 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
0-3 in their last 3 Super Bowls. Can I say 49ers Super Bowl choke artists? Is that fair?
Eh. I mean, kind of. I mean, it. I don't think it wasn't all on Kyle Shanahan and his coaching. He's more of a offensive coach, more than a defensive coach. And then what we just seen a while ago, that they fired their defensive coordinator. So
Steve Wilks. That's correct. Yeah.
Yep, they did just fire him not too long ago. I don't think that that was a good move on their part. They should have just kept him, because for the long that he was there, they had the best defense, one of the best defense in the league, and you just got rid of him just like that. But for the majority of the game, there was one big game changer that happened when Greenlaw got injured. That was one of their
Yes.
big key players that they lost in that Super Bowl. So,
And as much as we sit here and talk about the Niners, also, I got to give credit to the Chiefs. I mean, I'm not extremely enthused with the Super Bowl win. That's why on my take, I'm giving this Super Bowl an A. I'm gonna be a little nicer than JB. I get the A minus because I am super disappointed with the result. As you guys can probably tell by our last short take we did, me and JB weren't super enthused with the way the game went. We both wanted the Niners to win. I had the Niners win the Super Bowl when the season started. I was this close. So, I mean, it was a great game. Only the second Super Bowl ever to go to overtime. The defenses both played well. That's why I don't necessarily know why the Niners fired Steve Wilks, because the Niners had the 8th best defense in the league, and the Niners defense held Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to 19 points going into overtime in the Super Bowl. You should have won that game. Your defense did what they needed to do.
yep.
Kyle Shanahan needs to blame somebody. Because I'm saying they're Super Bowl choke artists. They've lost their last 3 Super Bowls. Kyle Shanahan had a lead in his 2. Harbaugh was the coach of the Niners when they lost to the Ravens back in 2012, 2013 era. So, the same story. Different coach. Harbaugh compared to Shanahan. Different quarterback. Kaepernick. Brock Purdy. Jimmy Garoppolo. Because back in 2019, when Mahomes got his first ring, Jimmy G was the quarterback. Kyle Shanahan was the coach. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey back then. They didn't have Brandon Ayuk. And Deebo Samuel was a rookie. And they made it to the Super Bowl and still lost. And then they gained all of those players I just said this season. All the talent in the world. You're not paying your quarterback no money. You have the best running back in football. Arguably the best 2 receiver duo in football. And you one of the best tight ends in football behind Kelsey, and you go out there and you lose again. At some point, you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy big money, and you're not going to be able to afford Christian McCaffrey and all of those nice players I just said. So your Super Bowl window is going to close.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs, 3 Super Bowls for Mahomes recently. He's played in 4. I think we're going to talk about him being an all-time great quarterback here later, but I think he's definitely earned himself in that conversation. Travis Kelce's an all-time great tight end. Andy Reid cemented himself as an all-time great coach. Again, back-to-back. There hasn't been a team go 3 in a row since the 65 to 67 Packers, when the Packers won the first 2 Super Bowls. But before that, in 65, the year before the Super Bowl, we won the NFL championship. So there hasn't been a team go 3 in a row since back then. We'll see if they can do it. But overall, it was an A as Super Bowl. It was a good game, entertaining, good halftime show. I'm happy with it.
So am I.
With that, JB, me and you are going to get into a topic I know you've looked forward to all week. So with that, JB, NFL honors recently happened. And with that, multiple awards were given out to kind of highlight things. Lamar Jackson was the league MVP. Myles Garrett was the Defensive Player of the Year. Christian McCaffrey, JB's favorite pick. He loves him, Myles Garrett. He thinks he's the best defender in football. But Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Will Anderson was Defensive Rookie of the Year. And, of course, C.J. Stroud was Rookie of the Year for offense. Coach of the Year was Kevin Stefanski. Jim Schwartz won Defensive Player of the Year. And I don't think I'm forgetting anything. If I am, please forgive me. So, JB, out of all those things I just said, what do you got for me, my friend?
Well, for starters, I think that this is the Browns Super Bowl. Because you look, the Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Head Coach, and Assistant Coach of the Year. So with all of that, you won your Super Bowl. Good job. Congratulations. You're never going to see a Super Bowl ever in your life. So, but if you see my short take of why I think the NFL honors is a joke, basically just giving out participation awards to all these awards. For example, Lamar Jackson, I don't think he should have gotten it. The Defensive Player of the Year, I don't think he should have got it. Offensive Rookie Year, he deserved it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, and it's still a win or still iffy on that pick. Coach of the Year should have been Kevin Stefanski, whatever you want to call his stupid name.
Stefanski.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. And Comeback Player of the Year, I mean, good job, Joe Flacco. But I don't think that wasn't deserved either, in my opinion. But because honestly, he was even in this season, not even half of the season, and he got Comeback Player of the Year. He played what, 5-6 games tops, and all the people that was in the going for this award played all season. I don't know. I mean, it's a good story, but I don't think he should have won Comeback Player of the Year. I think there should be some regulations just like the NBA has. It's like you have to play a certain amount of games to even get an award.
I'm cool with that. Now, I did say Joe Flacco. I personally said Joe Flacco deserved it. I thought he simply deserved it because he played 6 games. But what he did those 6 games, he led the Browns to the playoffs. The Browns. They played 5 quarterbacks this season. And in those games, I mean, I look here, he had a touchdown on every single one of them, threw for 3 touchdowns 3 times and 2 touchdowns 2 more times. touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1,616 yards, and he had a 300-yard games in 5 of his 6 games. So that was why I said he should get it, but I'm cool with the NBA regulation.
Because if you want to get any of these awards, you should be played. Just probably miss like 3 games because you have 18 weeks of football. So if you miss 3 games or 4 games because you are injured, because we're talking about the injury part as well. So, or heck, even 5, like minimum will be 5. So, I mean,
I think that's fair.
and you at least had to be top 5 in in majority of the categories of the stuff that they're leveled. Because Myles Garrett, there was only one category he was top 5 in, or 2. I don't have the stats or the his stats on my screen here, and I really don't care. But I'll still say this. I'll say this though. Myles Garrett is a good player, but he's not a game changer. He has.
I think he's a game changer, I think. But TJ Watt is better. He's just a better player.
Here's the thing about the Steelers defense and the Browns defense. The Browns defense has some better secondaries. Pittsburgh Steelers only had Minka Fitzpatrick when he was healthy. I mean, he was on and off the field last season. You had Joey Porter, Patrick Peterson here and there, but really, we had barely anyone on defense. We only had T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and Joey Porter Jr. That was it. And then our linebackers. Oh, and Alex Highsmith. But literally, that's really it. That's all we had. And yet you had to double, triple team TJ Watt just to have time for your quarterback to throw the ball. Like, honestly, I'd never seen Myles Garrett get triple teamed. Hardly ever. Double teamed here and there.
Yeah.
But triple team? Come on. And he still hits the quarterback. He still gets the sack when he's still triple teamed. So, and with that being said, and what Michael Parsons said that he's not a game changer, you're not a game changer either. You and Myles Garrett are not any better. You Micah Parsons, you just sucked this year. Majority of the categories, you're not even top 5 in. Did you get a touchdown this season? Did you get an interception this season? Did you get a fumble? Or you did get a fumble recovery.
But he had less sacks.
He got less sacks. He probably had a little bit more tackles.
I don't have that in front of me, but I know he had more interceptions. He had I believe more quarterback hits, and he had more sacks.
Mm-hmm. And a touchdown.
Gee, what was the sack leader?
No one else had a touchdown. And any of these defensive players had a touchdown or an interception. Yes, you would say Myles Garrett he's a defensive end, and Micah Parsons and TJ Watt is a linebacker. But yes, they are rushing linebackers. They don't go into coverage quite often. 95% of the Steelers defense, we rush. We rush TJ
like Clay
Watt.
Matthews.
And yeah, just like Clay Matthews. But yeah, no, you decide to only allow to have 14 sacks. I think if you think you want 19 or 14, which one do you want? You want 14 slices of pizza, or do you want 19? The more the merrier, right? I want
And speaking
19.
of more, agreed. Speaking of more the merrier, to help JB's case, Micah Parsons, we have the facts here, had 64 tackles this season. TJ Watt had 68. So TJ Watt had more tackles as well. So,
Shocker. And I'm not surprised because, like I said, TJ Watt is more of a game changer than Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. Truly. How many times have you seen TJ Watt get held? He gets held every game. And did we get called? No. Does the Browns get called for it? Or does whoever the Browns face and they held Myles Garrett, do they get called? Sometimes. But does TJ Watt get it? No. Does Micah Parsons get it? Yes. So I don't
and you
know.
know,
Just the league just hates. I feel like the league just hates TJ Watt and his capability of his dominance. If you go 1-on-1 every game, guess what? He's probably going to have 6 sacks a game. I bet you money he will have 6 sacks a game if he gets single covered or single blocked every game. He will. He's more of a dominant player than what Michael Strahan is. And that is a hard take because even though Michael Strahan still holds the record, even though that TJ Watt should have won it that one season, but the league told him no, he didn't get it. He didn't get that half sack, which I think that was because that half sack would have got him the sack lead. But nope, the league said no. Of course, the league said no because it's Michael Strahan. No one seen more dominant than Michael Strahan. I do believe TJ Watt is a lot more dominant than what Michael Strahan is.
okay. That's a hard take. That's a very hard take. But you know, JB's went on the defensive player of the year rant, and you know, if you want the facts, go to his short take. He broke it down really well. So I 100% agree with JB on that. That it is absolutely abysmal that Myles Garrett won because you could even make us. I think personally, I can make a case that I think Max Crosby should probably be second. I think Max Crosby is the second best defensive player in the league behind TJ Watt. I think Myles Garrett's top 5. I really do. Myles Garrett's an outstanding player. He's a Pro Bowler. He's probably going to go in the Hall of Fame. He's a great player.
And
But
Micah
he is not
Parsons
better than
is not
TJ
even in
Watt.
my top 10. Just saying that
Micah
right
Parsons
now.
is top 10.
Nope.
Micah Parsons is top
Not
10.
not with that interview that he had that saying TJ Watt is not even his top 5. You're not in my top 10. So go on away.
But based on the product on the field, he's top 10. Come on. I think Myles Garrett's better than Micah Parsons.
I could do better than Micah Parsons.
I sure do. We'll find out. We'll find out in our upcoming flag football week we're doing. So, with that, JB went on a rant there. It's absolutely abysmal. But the kind of synopsis on the rest, I'm proud of myself. I predicted the comeback player of the year correctly with Joe Flacco, the assistant coach of the year with Jim Schwartz. I predicted offensive player of the year correctly with CJ Stroud, offensive rookie of the year, excuse me. And then I did defensive rookie of the year with Will Anderson. And I believe that is all I predicted correctly. So I went on a nice little streak there. Good to see. So the other awards that I did not get correctly, I'm going to break down a little bit. Kevin Stefanski, I'm actually okay with him winning Coach of the Year. I am. I mean, he led the Browns to the playoffs. With 5 different starting quarterbacks through the season. 5. That's insane. Be able to lead a defense, and Nick Chubb got hurt. It's one of the best running backs in football, and he still made the playoffs. That's impressive. It's a regular season thing, so I don't think that's truly abysmal. Now, I think DeMeco Ryans and Dan Campbell were more deserving. I truly do, because Dan Campbell won the division since the first time the division existed, because the last time the Lions won a division, it was the NFC Central. The NFC North didn't exist. They let him do a division title and won a playoff game for the first time in over 30 years. DeMeco Ryans took a rookie quarterback with a young roster, one of the worst teams in the league last year, an abysmal laughingstock, and won the division.
And dominated the Browns, by the way, in the playoffs.
Yes, and won a
Literally
playoff game.
demolished.
And he developed the offensive and defensive rookie of the years of this season. So he's more deserving, in my opinion, too. But I don't think Kevin Stefanski's like a horrible choice. If there's a good third choice, I think he's earning. But the other two were deserving more, in my opinion. So then let's go to offensive. I'm not going to talk about offensive player of the year because that's irrelevant to me that Christian McCaffrey won that. And here's why. Because he's the league MVP. Christian McCaffrey is absolutely the league MVP. If people don't think I'm going to get mad. Because at this point, let's just call it what it is. It's a quarterback award. It's the most valuable Q. Here's a hard take. I don't think a non-quarterback will ever win the league MVP ever again. And I have some stats right here to tell you why. Let's look here at Lamar Jackson I have here. He had less than 30 total touchdowns. 24 pass touchdowns, 3,678 pass yards. On the ground, let's see what he had. 821 yards. Over 4,000 total yards. Cool. 5 rush touchdowns. Well, so you combine the rush touchdowns, pass touchdowns, you have a total of 29. That's it. Let's look at playoffs. I know it's only a regular season award and whatnot, but Christian McCaffrey, let's pull up to him now. Christian McCaffrey was the league leading in rushing this season. He had 1,459 rushing yards, 564 receiving yards. This man had over 2,000 total yards and over 20 total touchdowns. 21 touchdowns total, receiving, passing combined. Over 20 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards. Made it to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, less than 25 pass touchdowns, less than 30 total touchdowns. He didn't lead the league. Jordan Love had more touchdown passes, total touchdowns, than Lamar Jackson did. Where's Jordan Love's MVP vote? I have some stats right here that are absolutely abysmal. This is why the MVP award was a joke this season. Because Dak Prescott had more MVP votes total than Christian McCaffrey did. Dak Prescott had 152 total MVP votes. Christian McCaffrey had 147. Christian McCaffrey didn't even receive one first place vote. Josh Allen did, though. Oh, look, a quarterback. Imagine that. It's a quarterback award now. No respect for it. If it's not now, whenever will a non-quarterback win the award? Biased by the NFL. The voters want a quarterback to win. And oh, look, Lamar Jackson in the playoffs didn't go to the Super Bowl, never been to the Super Bowl, and has completed less than 60% of his playoff passes. So, take that for what it is. Lamar's not the league MVP this year. Now, Lamar had a nice season. I predicted he should win Offensive Player of the Year. He was efficient. He completed nearly 70% of his passes this season. Very good season for him. I'm not saying he did bad. But I'm saying if you don't think C-Mac deserves the MVP, you just weren't watching this year. Low football IQ. It's ridiculous.
And adding on to your rant for the MVP, guess what year there was that one that was not a QB?
Adrian Peterson.
2012.
Was it like 2012, 2013?
2012.
Yeah, 2012.
The rest of them were quarterbacks.
And who was the last one before Adrian Peterson? How far does that go back? I don't recall that in my memory file. My files are pretty good.
2006 was LaDainian Tomlinson.
That's my point.
And then 2005 was Sean Alexander. So there was back-to-back running backs. And then more quarterbacks. And then Marshall Faulk into 2000s. And I'm going way, way back. 98 was Terrell Davis. 97 was Barry Sanders. More quarterbacks. Emmitt Smith in 93. Quarterback. Thurman Thomas was a running back in 91. And here's a shocker right here. Well, it's not a shocker because he literally dominated everywhere. Lawrence Taylor.
Oh yeah, that was the last defensive player to win the absolutely.
And I will agree that he'll be the only defensive player to win MVP because that man wanted to kill you. He literally wanted to end your career. And then 95 was Marcus Allen. Oh, did you know there was a kicker?
Yes. Yes, that was recently. That was a sports fact of the day about a month or two ago. I don't recall the exact day, obviously, because slept since then. But
1982. Mark Mosley.
fun
And
fact
then
there.
quarterback,
But
running backs, and a defensive tackle, Alan Page. And then more run and then Jim Taylor, 1962.
whew,
Yeah, and then we're going in the 1950s, which I mean that's. But yeah,
so I mean, you got JB spitting facts there. The last one was over 10 years ago. If it didn't happen this year, let's face the facts. It's never going to happen. It's the NFL honors. Sometimes to me, it feels like the
12
Grammys
years.
almost. It's more of a
12
right.
years since uh a position that was not a quarterback that has won an MVP.
Only two since 2006. So let's face it. I mean, let's face it. To me, the NFL honors almost feels more like the Grammys anymore. It's more of a show and a little cute little publicity thing to get viewership, and it almost feels like more of a show than anything else anymore. It's unfortunate. Sometimes it's a cool show. I don't mind it, but you got to be unbiased. If you're gonna have a really fancy presentation show, which I have no problem with, at least make the right selection. I will end on this. Damar Hamlin not winning Comeback Player of the Year is absolutely the right thing. So I will give the NFL and the voters who vote for this awards 100% credit on that. Damar Hamlin, good to see him playing. Good to see him revive his career and come back from that horrible thing that happened to him. Not saying that, but from a true football perspective, let's be honest. He's not Comeback Player of the Year. He's not. He's just not. He didn't do anything on the field. Tua was up for the award. He led the league in passing yards. Like we said, Joe Flacco, I gave stats on him. He was more deserving than Damar Hamlin. So NFL got that one right.
All right.
And with that, JB, me and you are going to change some things up. So obviously, with football season ending, everybody, with football season ending, me and JB don't have as many games to predict. There's not games to predict these Sundays anymore. No more playoff games to talk about. So me and JB want to spice some things up. Sometimes we script these things, and we script these things very well. We come up with topics. We
Just
do
like the
research,
NFL.
which is great. Oh, JB over there. We disagree on that. NFL's not scripted. That's ridiculous. Because it's a felony, because sports betting is legal. So with sports betting being legal, my friend, you can't bet on scripted events. That's why you can't bet on WWE matches. NFL would be committing a felony if it was, or at least a misdemeanor. I'm not sure on the law. I'm not a lawyer. Would be committing a crime of some sort if if that were the case. But with that, that was unscripted. So with that, JB, like we just did, and we have our whole lives, me and you have been best friends since kindergarten, first grade eras. So with that, we've had many sports conversations throughout the years, going back to 2006. But these we do a little more organized. So me and JB thought it'd be a little more entertaining for you guys and a lot of fun if we did what we call casual talk. So casual talk is where I'm going to try to find, or right, where me and JB are going to try to find topics that are things that I think we'll disagree on in sports. And me and JB will more so talk how we would off camera more so and just casually do it rather than a script, so to speak. So JB, with that, the first casual talk, let's see how it goes. JB, Patrick Mahomes recently got his third Super Bowl championship, and he has played in 4 Super Bowls. He has made the AFC championship game in all 6 seasons as a starter. So with that, JB, where do you think Mahomes ranks all time? Give me your top 5 quarterbacks of all time, and do you think he deserves in that ranking of top 5? If not, where do you rank Mahomes?
I put Mahomes in my top 4 spot. because if you look, and for me, it's a little Jeopardy. He's only been in the league for how long?
7 seasons, I believe, but he
So
didn't
yeah,
play his first year. He sat.
so he's been in the league for 7, and he's already won 3 Super Bowls, and he's been to 4. So he's not like a LeBron James that's he only won like half of his um trips. So and he only lost twice in the playoffs. One in the Super Bowl and one in the playoffs.
Yeah, the only AFC quarterback and to beat to Mahomes in the playoffs is Joe Burrow when the
Yep.
Bengals went to the Super Bowl.
Yep. So he only lost twice. And if you look, most of these quarterbacks that has retired, like Drew Brees, um, John Elway, for not another good example, Brett Favre. I mean, yes, they've played a long time, a while. But if you look at Drew Brees, like for example, I'm looking at Drew Brees' stats right now. His playoff record is 9-9 in his whole entire career, and he won a Super Bowl. So I mean, with everything being said, I put Mahomes at number 4.
Okay. That's higher than I thought you would have him. That's why I'm making that face. That's truly higher than I thought. Who are your other top 5 though? So beyond 4, who's your 1, 2, 3, and 5?
So Tom Brady, number 1. No exception there. Because look, he's 35-13, really good record. Total record on the actual NFL regular season is 251-82, and with 7 Super Bowls, one with a team that he just got on with when he got onto the Buccaneers. He just got on there and like, you know what, I'm gonna win this team a Super Bowl, and you know what, it happened
In his 40s.
in his 40s, and Gronk came out of retirement. Gronk said, him and Tom, because him and Tom are really close now, and Gronk was like, "Yeah, I'll join. Screw it. What else can go wrong?
Called him up.
Like literally, what else can go wrong? We're gonna lose." Like,
I mean, Antonio Brown was even a part of that Super Bowl team.
mm-hmm.
Antonio Brown got a ring. He's
Yep.
Super Bowl champion. People forget that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Anyways, so number 1, that'd be probably another talk for another day. But Tom Brady,
It is.
number 1 in my book. Number 2, Joe Montana.
Another given, in my opinion. That's an obvious pick. Given. Yeah.
Some people are like, well, Peyton Manning was number 2. It was like, honestly, no, not really. His playoff record is 14-13. Let that sink in. And he's won 2 Super Bowls. One with the Colts, one with the Broncos. And with that the one team, or when he won his second ring with the Broncos, he had worse stats than Ben Roethlisberger when he played in Super Bowl 40. Like horrible QBR, horrible ratings, everything. He played worse than Ben Roethlisberger in Super Bowl 40. So let that sink in. So number 2, going with my Joe Montana, because his record 16-7 in the playoffs, 20 rushing touchdowns. Excuse me. 273 passing, and it's just, I mean, he was just phenomenal. Number 3, And for number 3, for me, um, it's there's too many good quarterbacks. I really don't want to leave out.
Well, there's so many great quarterbacks. Every list is going to be different. Truly, once you get past 1 and 2, Brady and Montana are obvious to me. If
Hmm.
you don't, if that's not your top two, then come on, what are you watching? But once you hit 3, things
My
get debatable.
second's Lamar Jackson.
No, no. But truly, you can debate past 3. I mean, truly, it's all up for grabs at that point. There's so many great ones, and there's only 5 spots.
But 3, I'm probably going to go with Peyton Manning as number 3 of greatest of all time. But if we're going to go with Super Bowls, then my number 3 is Ben Roethlisberger.
Who you taking, Big Ben or Peyton Manning?
Well,
You gotta pick one.
Super Bowl is Ben Roethlisberger, but all time, Peyton Manning. Um, and
JB's going
then
Peyton Manning slightly. It sounds.
slightly. No,
And
and
then of
then
course
number
you said Mahomes
4,
4.
Mahomes number 4. Um, and then my top 5, not going to be biased, is Ben Roethlisberger. I
Ooh,
mean,
that's a hard take.
and yes, everyone else is gonna say it's like, well, what about Steve Young? Steve Young is also good. Don't get me wrong. What about Aaron Rodgers? Well, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. He did. But if you see his playoff record, 11-10. So, and then some people will say John Unitas is like, honestly, John Unitas, he only went to the playoffs 6 times. And he lost twice. So, and then some people say Brett Favre or John Elway. It's like, honestly, let me scroll up to Ben Roethlisberger here. Ben Roethlisberger, he went 13-10, won 2 Super Bowls, and his rating is at a 93.5 with 418 touchdowns, 64,088 yards. His completion percentage was at a 64.4. And he had 20 rushing touchdowns. And this is the kicker right here. Game-winning drives. You know how many he had in his whole entire career? How many? Just guess. Just guess how many.
Roethlisberger won 2 Super Bowls, played in 3, played well over a decade in the league since '04, if I'm thinking correctly here. So
Yep.
18 total game-winning drives, I would say. I think that's a big number, so I'd say 18.
53. He had 53 game-winning drives.
That would make sense because okay, that would make sense.
Okay, here's the thing. Also, more than Steve Young. More than Aaron Rodgers. More than John Unitas. More than Brett Favre. More than John Elway. Tied with Drew Brees. More than Joe Montana. And Peyton Manning had 56. And then Tom Brady had 58. So, for him, and when some people say Ben Roethlisberger is not a game changer, that man was a game changer.
He took Matt Canada to the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's a fact. Okay, Jordan making a good case for Big Ben. You know, though, my friend, and you did so good our first four because I mean, obviously Tom Brady is number one. Dude
Well,
has
I
more
know
Super Bowls
I know
than
one person going to be in your top five is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
oh, but we gotta wait and see
Mm-hmm.
because you're right. You are correct. You are correct. It is Aaron Rodgers, and let me tell you why. All right, before I do that, Brady's number one. Brady's number one. Obviously, he has more Super Bowls than any other team out there. More than the Patriots, who have 6. More than Pittsburgh, who has 6. Pittsburgh and New England have the same amount of Super Bowls of all time. Both of those teams, and he has more than any franchise. The dude holds records for yardage. The dude is the longest tenured quarterback. The dude won Super Bowl with 2 teams. 2 teams. People said, "Oh, it's because of Belichick." He went to Tampa Bay in his 40s and won a Super Bowl. So he proved he can do it without New England. He holds almost every statistical record out there. Tom Brady is absolutely 100% the greatest of all time. Number 2, Joe Montana. People say, "Oh, but the stats and stuff." But okay, so here's the thing: stats matter. Regular season does matter 100%. Playoffs matter more, in my opinion. So you look: 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL Most Valuable Player, 8 Pro Bowl, 2-time passing touchdown leader. So I think number 2, obviously, he changed the game. His impact on the game is a big thing too. How you impact the game. So Joe Montana 2. Number 3, I agree with you, Peyton Manning. You look at Peyton Manning, yeah, he was kind of a playoff failure. I mean, his only 2 Super Bowl wins were when he was washed up with the Broncos, where he actually got benched early in the season for Brock Osweiler. People who remember that name. He was washed up. He retired after they won the Super Bowl. Von Miller won the Super Bowl MVP. The defense was an all-time great defense. Denver at the time. So that was the reason they won that Super Bowl, not Peyton Manning. And his other Super Bowl win was against Rex Grossman and the Bears in a rainy Super Bowl in Florida, where they barely won that game too. And then, of course, they lost to the Saints in the Super Bowl, and then he got thrashed by Seattle in the Super Bowl. Those playoffs, not. I know it sounds like I'm hating on him here, but I'm really not, because Peyton Manning he has the most league MVPs of all time at 5. He holds records as well. The dude's an all-time great quarterback. He's the only quarterback to win the Colts a Super Bowl. I don't count more days for people who want to fact check me there. So, Peyton Manning 3. I say Mahomes is 4 as well. Here's why he's low on my list. Mahomes, it's longevity. So you look, what do all of those guys have in common? Brady, Montana, Manning.
More than 10 plus.
More than a decade in the league. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl in 3 different eras. 3 different decades. He won a Super Bowl in the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s with Tampa Bay. This man won a Super Bowl in 3 different decades. 3. Some people out, these fanboys that are saying out there, I see it on the internet, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest of all time. No, he's not. Is he on pace to possibly be? Yes. I'm not an idiot. Because you look, Patrick Mahomes, I'm not hating on him, but he's only been in the league 7 seasons, started 6. But he's already a 3-time Super Bowl champion, played in 4 Super Bowls. He's won Super Bowl MVP all 3 times. He's won NFL MVP twice, Offensive Player of the Year once, and he's made 6 Pro Bowls. I mean, he's on pace. He's led the league in passing in 2022. But to say he's better than Brady is absolutely ridiculous. But he's on pace. I need to see him dominate 10 years, at least 10 years. He's a Hall of Famer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not first ballot, in my opinion, but he's a Hall of Famer, obviously. But longevity. However, number 5, you are correct, my friend. I have Aaron Rodgers as the 5th quarterback on my list. And I hear you what you said about Ben Roethlisberger. And yes, Ben Roethlisberger has 2 Super Bowl championship rings. Aaron Rodgers only has 1. I get that. But where did Aaron Rodgers get his 1 Super Bowl ring? In Dallas. Against the Steelers. Against Ben Roethlisberger. So in the biggest stage, A-Rod was able to get the best of Big Ben. And Big Ben's a Hall of Famer himself, like you said. He has more game-winning drives. I get all that. But look at Aaron Rodgers. So let's look at him. He had 475 total touchdowns, Ben Roethlisberger had 418. Roethlisberger had 211 interceptions. A-Rod 105. And Roethlisberger they're almost neck and neck in passing yards. Roethlisberger holds him slightly on that. Aaron Rodgers has the second most league MVPs of all time at 4. Roethlisberger never won a league MVP. Now, Roethlisberger was Rookie of the Year. Rodgers was not because he sat behind Favre. Rodgers, 10-time Pro Bowler, and Roethlisberger was a 6-time Pro Bowler. So that's why I say Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers was known to flail in the playoffs a little bit, like many playoff memories I have that were not very good. However,
Majority of those losses are on your defense, just in my opinion.
They are. But like we say, the quarterback gets a lot of blame and he gets a lot of credit when he shouldn't to. It's just the way it is. So I have Rodgers 5. I think had Rodgers won 2 Super Bowls, I would put him past Manning. But Rodgers never even got back to the Super Bowl. Manning won 2. I think Mahomes is better than Rodgers as well because he's made Super Bowl 4 times in 7 seasons. Rodgers made it once in his career. Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback of all time, but I will agree with you on this, that the Packers' playoff failures quite often after we won that Super Bowl, we shouldn't have blown that lead against Seattle. We got thrashed in the NFC Championship game against the Falcons. We've lost to the Niners many times. 1,000 too many, it seems like. And, of course, the Brandon Bostic Seattle game where we blew us like a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter. I wiped that out because I actually cried real tears after that game. I get the playoff failures, but Rodgers, that talent, he won a Super Bowl. It's not like he's Dan Marino. He's not. He has a ring. Give me A-Rod.
Okay.
Anything you want to fire back? This is casual talk. Anything you want to fire back there, JB?
Nope. I mean, I guess I will agree with you on your list as well with your top 5. Regular season, yes. I would say Aaron Rodgers has Ben Roethlisberger in majority of those categories. But like you said, most of the time, most of the great quarterbacks, when I'm saying most, other than Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers had a better regular season, but I would like to say that Ben had a little bit more of a success in the postseason than what Aaron Rodgers has.
And I would agree with that. I would, because, I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls and he played in 3. Rodgers never even made it to a second after we defeated Pittsburgh in Super Bowl 45. We won that Super Bowl, we never even got back. So I would agree with that. I think Ben Roethlisberger's Hall of Fame career is built off of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really built in the regular season. He was a good quarterback in the regular season, but he was better in the playoffs.
He was more, and if you even looked or seen how he played, it really, he didn't even want to have all the stuff around him. He was more of a team guy. That's why he never wanted to win an MVP, because he was more basically around the team. Just like him and Jerome Bettis, when Jerome Bettis was wanting to retire, and Ben actually told him, it's like, hey, I got you your Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl and we're gonna win this one. And that's when they won Super Bowl 40. So, and they brought him there, and with that game-winning tackle that Ben had against the Colts that year, that exact same year, when but no, it's like, and also, he's the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. At 23,
that's a fact as well.
At 23 years old, he's still the youngest quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl. Now, if Brock Purdy
Yeah,
would have won the Super Bowl, then Brock Purdy would be the youngest. But no, Ben Roethlisberger is the youngest quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, I think you make a good argument. Hey, you gave the stats about game-winning drives, playoff success. I agree. But if I'm personally, if I'm starting a team right now, and I have Aaron Rodgers in front of me and Ben Roethlisberger, and I know the one will make the same amount of money. Money's outside the question. I'm taking A-Rod. I know that. Obviously, I just love that how we're both defending our guys here.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, for me, I would pick more of a person that is more of a team person than himself.
Aaron
So,
can be kind of difficult.
yep. So that's why
He's always
that's why I like that's why I like about Ben. He never liked the MVP. He never really wanted the MVP. I mean, technically, I don't think he really wanted the offensive rookie of the year. I don't think he didn't even want that. I mean, he came in when I forgot who was our starting quarterback when he started in 2004. Oh man, who was it?
Tommy Maddox, Cordell Stewart, Tommy Maddox. Neil O'Donnell was before that.
Yeah,
So I
Neil
think it
O'Donnell
was
was
Maddox
before
or
that
Cordell Stewart.
when we lost to the Cowboys.
So
I want
yeah,
to say it was
yeah.
Tommy. I would think it was Tommy Maddox.
Maddox replaced Roethlisberger when he had his motorcycle accident. He was injured, remember?
Yeah, I do. I want to. Now it's going to kill me.
Now, I think it's time. Yes, Chandler's pulling out that memory file I told you about earlier. It's time. I think it's Tommy Maddox, man. And I think Cordell Stewart was around that time too.
Yep, it was. I do believe it was Tommy Maddox was the starting quarterback. And then when Tommy Maddox got injured, he played 3 games. Cuz I remember he played 3 games and that's his week 3, that's when he got injured, and this when Ben Roethlisberger played the rest. And he lit everyone up on that year. So, with that being said, so yeah.
Look at us fact checking that. I'm going back all the way to Tommy Maddox days. Look at us getting that right off the top of our head.
Back in 2004.
Back in the day. So with that, JB, I think that was a good casual talk. What do you think?
It was good. I think it was good.
I like that. We were all over the place. That's the point, though. That's the point. Less script, less organization, just truly BSing about sports. Truly, like you would on the couch with your buddy. Simply, that's the point of casual talk. So let us know in the comments below what you thought of casual talk. Do you agree with us? Do you want to see it? Do you not want to see it? What do you want to see? So let us know what you think in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll be continuing it. So with that, speaking of continuing, JB, football season is over, my friend. And me and you just wrapped up Super Bowl, our first casual talk, all that. So me and you want to pivot to the world of the NBA. We'll be talking a lot of basketball from here on out. So, JB, speaking of basketball, Milwaukee Bucks are struggling, my friend. They are now since hiring Doc Rivers. 3-7 with Doc Rivers. JB, 10 games in, is it time to panic or should we be patient? What's your thoughts on Doc Rivers? This is a follow-up to our topic when he was recently hired.
Oh man. I think it's now time. I think it is now time to hit the panic button. Like I said, he said what, 3-7?
At 3-7 in the last 10 games, yes.
So yeah, 3-7. When you got demolished by the Miami Heat, when we demolished the Bucks, 123-97. But the one game that I believe you should have won, you definitely should have won this game, but you didn't. the Memphis Grizzlies. You lost by 3. And yes, I'm going to go over the stats a little bit. Giannis had 35. Lopez had 14. Lillard had 24. And Portis came off the bench at 15. And your starters, Crowder had 4 points. And Beasley had 9. And then everyone else, Patrick Beverly had 1 point. Who is this guy? Kentogan? Pat Kentogan? He had 2.
I honestly don't know, and I'm not want to find out because I like how you said that.
And then AJ Green, never heard of the guy. He had 6 points. And then everyone else on the Memphis Grizzlies. Aldama, he had 7. Williams had 27 points. Jameson had 10. Goodwin had 11. Williams Jr. had 18. Stevens had 13. And Jackson had 27. So if you look at it, I want to say the Milwaukee Bucks are not playing team ball. Because honestly, who shot more with the Memphis or with the Bucks?
Well, who shot more would be Ja Morant since you're talking about the Grizzlies.
Oh, pop, pop, pop.
That was a nice one.
No.
That was a nice one.
With the Bucks, Damian Lillard shot the most. I want to say he was on his off game. I mean, well, pretty much. I think ever since that Doc has been the coach, I don't think he does not know how to coach Damian Lillard. Because Damian Lillard, he went 7 for 21. And Giannis, he went 15 for 17. That's good. That's good. Lopez, 5 for 14. And Beasley, 3 for 10. And Bobby Portis, 7 for 12, which that's okay. With everyone else, Beverly 0 for 4. Kentogan, he shot 1 for 3. AJ Green, whoever, never heard of that dude in my entire life. He went 2 for 4. And put that in mind, he went 2 for 4 for 3. So that's all he shot was 3s that game. And Jackson Jr., he went 0 for 1. And Patrick Beverly went 0 for 4. Oh, and Crowder went 2 for 4. So if we look at it, I don't think Damian Lillard's not even meant to fit for this team.
Not.
Nope. You're going to be better off if you would have signed with the Miami Heat.
You're right. We wouldn't have Terry Rozier because we need someone who can score. Guess what? Terry Rozier did well. Charlotte scored. We need a scoring presence. So you are correct.
And then if I'm going to look at when he was playing against the Heat, let's look at those stats. Giannis, 11 for 18. Good. Crowder,
Very good.
1 for 1. For the 18 minutes that he played, he went 1 for 1. Brook Lopez, 3 for 9. 1 for 6 at 3. Damian Lillard, 5 and 14. 2 for 7 at 3. He had 16 points that game. Beasley, 6 for 10, which is good. It's good. And then you had Bobby Portis, 6 for 12. And then everyone on the list. And then AJ Green, that dude I never heard of. I wonder why we never heard of him. He went 1 for 7. So, and with everything else, and basically everyone played that game except for Livingston. He's the only player that did not play. Everyone else played. So I mean, with that being said, Damian Lillard is not looking good when Doc Rivers. Let's go to the when he first time was on the with the Bucks, was with the Nuggets. Let's look here. Damian Lillard, 5-13. Let's look at the next game that they lost. Trailblazers. Let's look here. With him coming back to Portland, he went 9-23. He still had 25 points though. But yeah,
That's horrible. It's horrible efficiency.
Mm-hmm. And let's keep going. Let's see when they won against the Dallas Mavericks. Let's look here. Oh, he had a good game. Damian Lillard had a good game. He went 10 for 11. 30 points. 30 points that he had. He went 5 for 5. Yep. Good game, right? Good game. Really good game. And then you got the Utah Jazz. Let's look at this. Damian Lillard, 5-18. Let's see. Let's look at the Suns. I'm just gonna go with all these games that he had, or with the Doc Rivers. Oh, he didn't even play. So, with that being said, so he did not play against the Suns, and they still lost. Let's look at the Timberwolves again. Oh, not again, but Minnesota Timberwolves. Once again, he did not play. I do believe he was injured for a few games. So I don't know which how many weeks he was injured. So okay, and he was back against Charlotte Hornets when they demolished.
He was hurry.
So with Damian Lillard coming back, he went 9 for 18. 50%. That's okay. That's not bad.
Still not efficient.
Still not good enough. He went 2 for 8 for 3, 6 for 6 at free throws, which I mean, free throws should be a given in the NBA. I mean, at least you're not Shaq. Like, come on now. Let's see. So yeah, he went 9 for 18. 9 for 18 there. Let's look when he played the Nuggets. Oh, the Nuggets. Damian Lillard, 6 of 15. 2 for 5, 18 points. So if we're seeing a pattern here, is it Damian Lillard's fault that they're losing? Is it both? I think it's both. I think Doc Rivers does not know how to coach Damian Lillard. And I think Damian Lillard is not accustomed to Doc Rivers' coaching. So I think that's how I'm looking at it. I think them two are not. They're clashing.
Okay.
Hard.
And you know, I don't disagree with you, but I agree with you in a different way. I 100% agree. It's time to hit the panic button. If I'm going to quote myself, though, when we talked about Doc Rivers initially being hired after Adrian Griffin was fired by the Bucks, I gave this grade. Remember, I quote for myself, a super F. Here's why I gave it a super F. Because people just don't show up and play basketball. You run a system. You have a team. You run a team. Giannis needs to get his hands where they don't belong. I speculate this. There's been reports come out that Giannis wanted Griffith fired. Well, you look, I don't know why, because They were at the time the second seed in the Eastern Conference and 30-13 at the time. Well, you look now they've dropped in the standings. They're third and 35-21. Doc Rivers is 3-7 since taking over, and Damian Lillard, like you said in your pattern, a pattern is he's inefficient. He's shooting less than 50% from the field. They're losing games. I said then, when you fire your coach in the middle of the season, you're disrupting your entire flow. You're starting over. That's a disadvantage. And why did you fire Adrian Griffin? The man was 30-13. You don't fire people who are being successful and second in the Eastern Conference for no reason. Because he was doing what he needed to do. Something's fishy with that. So Damian didn't like him, or Giannis didn't like him. Something's going on in Milwaukee, and ever since hiring him, they're 3-7. Doc Rivers hasn't won a championship since 2008 and hasn't won a Coach of the Year since the year 2000. Doc Rivers is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. And here's where I disagree with you. I think it's 100% Doc Rivers' fault. 100% Doc Rivers' fault. Because I agree with you with a pattern. Here's a pattern with Doc Rivers. Since winning the championship of Boston in 08, he hasn't been able to win anywhere he's been. He had James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tyronn Maxey, Philadelphia. Couldn't win a championship there. The year before that, he had a lot to do with the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan in their prime, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin back when they were being superstars in LA. Couldn't win a championship with them. Years of playoff failure, embarrassing playoff failures at that. And here we are now. How many chances does he get? And he gets to coach the All-Star game. Man's coached 10 games and won 3 of them. He's coaching the All-Star game. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But his best days are behind him. He hasn't won a championship in damn near 20 years. Going on 20 years now. 08. We're in 2024 now. How many chances do you get? You couldn't coach the Lob City to a championship. You couldn't coach Joel Embiid or James Harden. What makes me think you're going to be able to do it with the Bucks? You're already 3-7 and dropping in the standings. Not looking good. Time to hit the panic button.
1 game behind the Knicks.
On top of that, and over 2 games behind the Cavaliers now. 2.5 game difference between the Cavs and the Bucks in the standings. Not looking good. They're only 2 games out of being the 5 seed. Not looking good for Milwaukee. I said it then. Doc Rivers' best days are over. They made a mistake. Starting the show.
Yeah, and I agree.
With that, me and JB, speaking of All-Star game, Doc Rivers is coaching the All-Star game. But All-Star weekend is this weekend. So JB, with All-Star, we're in the All-Star break now. Things are starting to pump up a little bit. What's your one take you want to talk about from the All-Star game, JB? Got plenty of things. You got a 3-point contest.
One thing I'm actually kind of looking forward to is Sabrina and Steph Curry with the 3-point contest. I do believe that is going to be a pretty good game, or pretty good matchup with. Hold on, let me look this up. Because I think I don't know if this is oh no, they did this last year. So no, they didn't do this last year. I'm trying to get this up because I really didn't pull up the stats for this. But Steph Curry versus Sabrina. Well, I'm just saying Sabrina. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm not even going to try anymore. Honestly, for now on, last names that I do not know, guess what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to try anymore. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to try this one. This is my last time. Last time I am going to try this one. I might butcher it. Lonescu. Sabrina Lonescu. There we go. Not gonna. That's my last one. That's my last. Try and pronounce last names.
You say that until next week's podcast.
Shut up. I'm putting this right now. Boom. Not gonna say anymore. I will even put a post stamp on my screens like don't pronounce last names. But no. Let's see. It's going to be happening tomorrow. So this is going to be so it's going to be fun. But I do believe that she is the best 3-point shooter in the WNBA. And Steph Curry is known to be the best 3-point shooter in the NBA. So
All time.
Sadly, I still believe it's Ray Allen more than anything.
Clutch, yes. If you're down by 2 points and you shooting a 3 to win the finals in Game 7, which Ray Allen saved us in Game 6 of the finals against the Spurs, mind you. Clutchness, yes, Ray Allen. But overall, as a 3-point shooter, overall, it's Steph Curry.
Yep. But no.
To me. So you want to see if the WNBA player can beat the NBA player.
Yep. And you know what? I really want to actually look into this a lot, or I really want to watch this. Honestly, I really want to drive all the way down to Indy tomorrow and actually see it. I know that's not going to happen because the tickets are probably already sold out since we are both living in Indiana. We should have at least tried. See the All-Star game.
I didn't think of it. But come on.
But
she doesn't stand a chance.
I mean,
he's gonna kill.
She does hold the record for the most points, for the most points in the 3-point contest in WNBA history. So I don't know.
And that's awesome. She's a great basketball player. Would destroy me and you. Gonna go to I get all. A great player, elite player. But come on, me and you. Let's all admit it. The NBA is far more talented than the WNBA. Let's admit it. And Steph Curry is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history on 3 points. He's going to demolish.
Here's what I'm going to say. This though, it's the same length as the WNBA and the NBA. Same length, right? It's all about the form, right? They both have great form. So who's going to be more clutch? Is it going to be Sabrina? Where she beat she has the record-setting performance in the WNBA 3-point contest. She had, I do believe, more points than when Steph Curry when he had a 3-point contest. But I think at that point, Steph Curry just really didn't care. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, I do believe both of them have a great shot. It's going to be a great matchup because, I mean, this is the first time this happened, which I'm looking at it now. This is the first time that a WNBA player called out an NBA player for a 3-point contest. Because she posted on Twitter, she said shootout with Steph, and she at Steph Curry, not John Morant. But I got my little jokes there.
Oh, JB sounds like he's going with a WNBA player to beat Steph Curry.
I am going with it. I do believe Steph Curry is going to be the bigger man, and I think he's going to just give it to Sabrina. I'm going with the underdog, okay? I'm going with Sabrina.
JB's going with a WNBA player. I can't believe I ever thought I'd say that. I'm not going to go there. You're picking the WNBA. I think, listen to this. Steph Curry wins easily. It'll be over the first few shots. That's my prediction. However, beat the first few shots in my book. So JB, that's a hotter take than I thought. Because your take's a lot hotter than mine. Because look, here's my thing with the All-Star Game. NBA All-Star Game is a good All-Star Game. In my opinion, it's probably the best All-Star Game of the 4 major sports. It's better than hockey's, it's better than baseball's, and it's definitely better than the Pro Bowl. So the NBA has the best All-Star Game weekend. I'm going to talk about the slam dunk contest, and this is no new news. Let's not act like it's just breaking news. The dunk contest isn't what it once was. It used to be the biggest event they had. And now this season, it's a little better, I'll say, because Max McClung, he's going to be back out there again. So he's in there from the G League, the Magic, D League, G League, whatever you want to call it. You have Jacob Toppin from the Knicks, Jamie Jacquez Jr. from the Heat. Hopefully he wins. And then Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. So 1 All-Star. That's it. It's not right. That's not like what you want to see. You know what I mean? Those are the names you want to see. 1 All-Star, and it's Jaylen Brown in the dunk contest with a G League player. Come on. But you look, truly the biggest event anymore in today's NBA because of the way the game's played now. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they changed the game forever. They created the 3-point league. Impact on the game. We talk about that all the time. So, naturally, now the 3-point contest is the biggest event, in my opinion. Listen to these names. This is a nice list. Jalen Brunson, he's an all-star. Tyrese Halliburton, he's an all-star. Damian Lillard, he's an all-star. Donovan Mitchell, he's an all-star. Karl-Anthony Towns is an all-star. And Trae Young's an all-star this year as well. And Malik Beasley from the Bucks is in there as well. So that is a loaded 3-point contest.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded. So the 3-point contest is what I'm excited to see. I want to see who can pull it out of there. I'm going to say out of this list, I think Trae Young wins. I think Trae Young he's a good shooter, especially when there's no one guarding you. So with open shots like that, I think Trae Young wins 3-point contest. Give me Jacquez Jr. to win the dunk contest. I'm going to go with my Miami Heat boy, Bam Adebayo. He made the All-Star team this year. Great to see as an All-Star reserve. I'm pretty happy with the All-Star. Jimmy Butler didn't make it, but I actually don't necessarily have a problem with that. I do think it's absurd, however, that Damian Lillard was an All-Star starter over Jalen Brunson. That, to me, is absurd. I think Damian still deserves to be in it, but Damian should be the reserve. Brunson should be the starter.
All right.
And that is all we have for today's Unbiased Hard Take. And here's the thing, JB. We are over 1 year old now. So the Unbiased has celebrated its birthday. We are now 1 year old. So happy birthday to the Unbiased. Happy birthday.
Let's go.
We don't have a cake and candles. 1 year down. Hopefully many more to go, my friend. Definitely many more to go. We ain't going anywhere.
Nope. Hopefully.
And
make it big one day.
we ain't no hopefully. Don't get the viewers sad. We ain't going nowhere. So, right? That's right. Nope. So, with that, football season's over, unfortunately. With football season being over, I am be cashing in on my DoorDash win here soon. So, before the next podcast, check out the receipt like we promised before the season starts. JB, get me some free DoorDash. I ain't gonna go too expensive on them. We've already talked about it. I'm gonna get me some good Taco Bell. We'll see. Comment what you think I should get down below. So, JB, anything else you want to talk about, my friend?
Nope. Like I said, I'm rooting for the underdog, Sabrina. I'm not gonna pronounce her last name. But like you said, the NFL season has come to an end, but it has just begun, my friend. Teams are already releasing players, just like the Steelers released all of our people that sucked for a few years from now. I'm not going to put out names because I already did a short take on that. So yeah, when we say it's ending, and later the day after the Super Bowl, it's just started. The next season has just started. The off season is already here. We're already releasing people that is already missed the cut already, and it's the day after the Super Bowl. So if that's saying anything, it's going to be a good season.
That's right. And I'll add my final take here. The Hall of Fame was also announced. Good to see Devin Hester in there. I hate the Bears. He's the greatest returner of all time. Antonio Gates didn't make it. It makes no sense to me. He was, in my opinion, definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. So that's a bit of a snub. That's what I have there. Again, we're trying new things, different format after the season started. So what do you guys think of our casual talk topic this week? So let us know what you think down below. Again, that's all I have. Check out our Facebook for my DoorDash. All I have. And as always, go Pack Go. Let's go Heat. And bowl her up, baby.
And I'll say, and also end it. Let's go Steelers. Let's go Miami Heat. And boil her up. Hope we don't lose round 1 of the March Madness. See you next week.
Next week.